Dear class, this is a short video to show you how to create a spring in SolidWorks, which actually the diameter of the spring changes when you are changing the length of spring. Obviously, when you expand the spring becomes smaller, and when you are contracting it, it becomes larger. Let's just go simply and create a spring first. I'm just going to go on front view. One of the best way to make the spring is you just make a line here in one view, and then you go and make another sketch on the same front plane. And this sketch, what you do is you simply have a round shape cross section circle, and the distance also make it 50. Okay, so now done. You go here to sweep, and you have the profile, and you have the path, and you go to option here, and you go to the twist, and you go here to number of the revolution, make it 15. So that is here. So obviously I have to make this a little larger, so I can make it a little larger here. And that's in the spring I mean. So it doesn't matter if it's larger or smaller, the distance of the circle, which is the cross section to the line, is constant. But what if I want to change it? So of course there's a way to do it, and it's using the global variable. Let me just go here. So this length right now is about 300, but I can do one thing also. I can go here to this length, and I put here equal to length. If this is the length is global variable, I said yes, and I make it 300. There we go. So this is done. And then I am going to go to the other sketch, which is the one I created of the distance. So now I want to play with this number here. So when it's 300, this is 50. When I go to, let's say, 400, I want this to become smaller. So I guess I have to write an equation, and in this case, the equation is, let's say, for example, 51 minus, right now is 300, so I would say the length divided by 300. So right now it's 50, so the equation was the 51 minus the length divided by 300. It means when the length is 300, it's 300 divided by 300 become 1, 51 minus 1 become 50. But when it's 400, would be 400 divided by 300, and the value would be different. Let's just see what happens here. I'm gonna change it here. Now let's see if this length, now I'm gonna expand it here, go higher here, or can just simply change this one to 600. Done. So let's see if the size changes. So the size is right here, and let me go back to the equation again here, if I did correctly. So I wrote here the equation was equal to 51 minus the length divided by 300. This should be correct. I'm not sure. There we go. So maybe I didn't enter it properly. So when the length of this is 600, it changes. Let me go back again to 300, and I'm going to redo it here, and it becomes slightly smaller. So now let's put it back to 300, and the distance of the circle become again 50. Look at that, is 50. What if I change it to, I'm just saying, 1200. Okay, so of course it's much expanded, and this value is now 47. So in this case, I correlated this distance. I could have exaggerated this and multiply by 2 or 3, but the objective was this value here, which is actually the circle that the spring is creating. This circle, the diameter changes as we changing the length of the spring. Moreover, if you would have made this spring out of a material that is kind of like has a huge elasticity, so you could also change these values to if you wanted. So right now is 5, so we would have say is equal to 5, or make it 6 minus the length divided by 300. And again, this is based on, of course, this is going to be error here most probably. Or no, I didn't, because now I changed the size. So when the length of the spring here is 300, so you get back to the normal. So let's see the values here. The values are 5 and 50. And I go and change the length to 1200. So things are changing now. In 1200, so now I have here the length of the spring is 1200. The diameter was 5. Now it's much tinier. It's almost like a, proportionally become tinier. And also this becomes smaller. What if I go and change this one to 200? So in this case, the spring actually is contracted, and the values are changing again. So this is 200. This value, you can see that here, used to be 50. Now it's a little more, 50.33. And this value used to be 5. It's more. And if I want to really go and make it 150, now this value become 50 and half and 5.5. So again, this is just an example. You can create that. So if you go and then create this in an assembly, the one that we talk in a class, it changes automatically as you change. And when you do it, for example, in motion study, you can see that it depends on how much you want the spring to be changing the size. The spring become larger and smaller, both on the length as well as on the diameter. I made it very short. I don't want to go to that detail. I'm sure you can figure it out. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video.